Glastonbury have just announced their lineup, guys. That's the story. Here is the story on what's the story. The story is Glastonbury have announced their lineup.
Smooth.
What do we think about it? Hey?
Distinctly average, I'd say.
Yeah.
Distinctly average.
Distinctly average.
Headliners we're looking at. This is from memory now.
That's our
Arctic
tagline,
Monkeys,
isn't it?
Guns N' Roses, Elton John, Lizzo. Headliners, yeah?
Well, Lizzo is technically not a headliner, I don't think. She's like a
It's
co-headliner.
a bit sexist, mate.
Well, these aren't my words. Co-headliner. She's going to be opening for Elton John.
That's not what co means.
No.
Well, that's what I've read. I've done some research this morning. You know I have, and this is the information that I have deduced.
Well,
apparently because the headliner slot was already promised to someone else. By someone else, I assume they mean Elton John. There's been a bit of uproar since the announcement.
Damn.
Say Yanni. Since the announcement of the lineup, and that is due to the lack of diversity in the headliner slots. Liam so aptly stated that we have Arctic Monkeys, Guns N' Roses, and Elton John.
The point was they're all definitely all men. We know that much. Mostly, at least majority white, if not all white, headliners. Okay, it does feel as though Lizzo isn't a headliner, isn't a co-headliner because that's made up. She's before the headliner.
Yeah, support
and is
act,
there
basically.
as a way to try and counterbalance that in some way, and that feels a little bit gross, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
She easily could have been a headliner. Guns N' Roses shouldn't be a headliner. What are they doing there?
Who has listened to Guns N' Roses in the last 10 years, honestly?
I mean, out of the people we could offend on this podcast, I'm all for offending the people who are listening to Guns N' Roses still at this age.
Emily Evis has said that the headliners being male is down to a pipeline problem, quote unquote.
Pipeline. Is
Ain't
that
that true?
being that there's not enough
Pipeline
non-white
meaning...
male artists? Is that what she's trying to say?
Well,
is the issue not that they're not being exposed to get better and become more famous? Not better, sorry.
There's that, yeah. She said that a previously confirmed headliner had to pull out due to change in touring plans. That was believed to be Taylor Swift. So the natural replacement, Guns N' Roses, obviously.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it's good that they've given Arctic Monkeys a chance to headline for once.
Well, this is only the third
Very
time.
underground act. It's I do see Elton John. If you're gonna have Elton John at Glastonbury, he kind of has to headline. He's one of the biggest artists ever. Arctic Monkeys probably also yes.
Well, I couldn't believe the other day that it's been 10 years since their last headline slot, which I know is how dates work, but it seems like does not.
I feel like
10 years.
if you've headlined before, you would probably headline in future. You know, you wouldn't drop down to a lower stage or a lower kind of time slot.
Yeah, I
Guns
agree.
N' Roses, I don't care how they feel about it. Do you know what I mean? If they headlined in the past, don't give a shit. They don't.
Put them in the smallest tent
Not
possible.
bothered. Yeah, they just don't feel like a headline act. Like, who's really going to be that excited to go and see Guns N' Roses?
Yeah,
I would, to be fair.
Yeah.
There's that as well, and I also think that Slash and Axl Rose have both got allegedly questionable pasts. They've been accused of some things. One of their songs, "One in a Million," has a history of racist and homophobic lyrics. That's not on streaming platforms anymore, but it just seems against everything Glastonbury stands for, and it's just a bit odd to me.
Glastonbury stands for Dosh.
Dosh.
Yeah, maybe they do. Lana Del Rey as well is apparently headlining the other stage. You would not know that based on the promotional poster, and she is fuming. Let me tell you, fuming.
Yeah, it's not very clear. I mean,
that's how they always
feel
feel,
like
don't they?
she could have headlined main stage with all the material she's got. He's pulling that face, hell, but she could.
She's a big enough name to headline.
Yeah, maybe so. But apparently she's threatened to pull out, which seems a bit dramatic. I don't mean to be that guy, but based on the statistics, I'm just being level-headed journalist here. 52% of the 54 acts are male, so it's not equal, but it's close to being equal.
And that's good enough.
Yeah,
And
I'll do. We don't need to improve that.
46% of 54 acts are non-white or feature non-white members.
What was that?
That's just,
What was that percentage, Callum? Sorry, I missed what you said.
46% of 54 acts.
Okay.
This is also only the
Considering-
first wave of acts to be announced. There are going to be more. Obviously, Glastonbury is huge. And I think if you actually look past the headliners, it's not that bad for diversity. Speaking as someone who has no right to speak on the topic.
I mean, looking through it, I did a quick mental count of row by row, and it did seem roughly split, kind of male, non-male.
Well, you don't need to do that because we've got the statistics, mate.
Yeah, I know. But
It's 52%.
There you go.
Well, there we go. I was just telling you. Way to ruin a flow.
That's what we're for, mate.
But obviously, like you say, there's going to be more announcements, more acts announced, and they're going to go with their best foot forward. And that, unfortunately, does feed into the pipeline issue that Emily mentioned of all the biggest names are, or most of them, are male, white. And that's just kind of the way it is. So, I mean, it's hard to really say fully how diverse it is until we see the full lineup. It would be a shame, though, obviously, that the majority of that is going to be in lower stages.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm mostly talking about the kind of 46% white?
46% non-white. All feature non-white members.
Okay, so 54% white.
Yeah.
Considering there's so much more than white. The non-white is such a bigger kind of... There's a lot of different areas in non-white.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
only the less than half is crazy. But
Hasn't Elton John said farewell about 10 times? and also, I don't get the Guns N' Roses inclusion at all, to be honest.
Neither do I. That does seem... I mean, as a headliner, definitely weird. You could semi-understand if they were... I mean, they're not legends, but I think you could kind of understand if they were in the legends slot. Just, it would be a shit announcement, but you could understand it. But they've not released anything of note for 25 years, at least. And it's just a bit bizarre.
the Legends slot, I've never really quite understood. Is that an actual kind of time slot on a certain day? Is it Sunday or something?
Sunday at 5, I think.
So do we know who that is at this point?
Cat Stevens.
Okay.
Yusuf /
Yusuf, yeah.
Cat Stevens.
I suppose that's fair enough.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, aren't we, to see how it turns out. But
what your... Oh, go on. Sorry, I thought you were...
Well, if you let me speak. I feel like the uproar is more to do with the headline side of it more than the inclusion of other people. Well, that's what I would take away from it, being the person who's not offended by anything I've just seen. But it's not my right to be offended by that. So, who cares?
Yeah, I do think most of the uproar is at Guns N' Roses, though, because I think people would be happy with Arctic Monkeys and Elton John. But
I even feel like Arctic Monkeys... Well, I say, if Arctic Monkeys are going to be there, they probably will be headliners. I just don't really feel like they deserve to be.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on
and
that
Elton
also.
John, to be honest. You've just stopped playing music. Why are you still doing farewell tours? It's been so long. There's so many other artists that could fit those spots that haven't been there before.
Yeah, that is a very good point. How do you feel on the lineup as a whole, though? If you were going as a punter, would you be happy with what has been announced so far?
For Glastonbury, I'm not really that fussed.
Yeah, no, me really. Obviously, I'd want to see Arctic Monkeys. The War on Drugs, I'd want to see.
Yeah, there's a few not quite like legends, but almost their names, I suppose. There aren't many kind of middle to lower names, and maybe they'll come, but I don't know why they wouldn't be on this list if they were going to be there, sort of thing. I'm trying to desperately find this list because I haven't actually got it, but
I mean,
it's on the ones you sent before.
Yeah, so there's Blondie, who obviously would be an event to see. I don't know how good they are live these days. Fred again, I think would be good to see. Lana Del Rey, I'd like to see, but I'm not fuming that I have missed tickets.
As a person who struggles seeing colours, I hate this poster.
Well,
it makes it very difficult. I mean, this is partly probably what Lana Del Rey was going on about. It's very unclear about certain things that are going on.
Have you
Like you
just
said,
have you just
Blondie.
outed Lana Del Rey as colorblind?
That's what it is. But when you said Blondie there, it took me until you'd finished talking about Blondie to find out where they were on the
Yeah, it's the
Well, it's
same.
in alphabetical
correct order. Yes.
It's the same with the Park Life one. That is tragic. I hate that. I mean, I've never got to Park Life anyway, but that's awful. This isn't good. There's definitely better ways to do it. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have any feelings either way about the lineup in terms
I'm
of
looking-
actually being a fan of music. It's just a bit meh.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it again. There's a decent variety there, and there are quite a few I'd like to see. But like I say, I don't. I feel like there's a lot that I'm not really bothered about, and it doesn't leave much room for others. It doesn't feel like if you're looking at kind of the level of popularity,
Yeah, Glastonbury's huge
The-
though, mate. There'll be loads more.
I suppose. But like there's some here that are less kind of well known than some others that I'd want to see. So you'd assume they'd be on the list, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know how they kind of release their acts, but.
Well, that's been our talking point. But if you want to hear more about festivals that are coming, there will be a video coming out about the festivals in question this year and our opinions on them as we rank very efficiently, because there's quite a few to go through. So that will be linked as soon as that video's up. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on the whole Glastonbury situation down below, please.